Hello folks, welcome back. It's Forward again. So this is my Magicka Templar version 3.0. And we're going to go straight into the build and the gear real quick, and then I'll provide a little bit of commentary after that, and then we'll run a DPS test for you to see how the build actually works. So, as most of you know, my goal in ESO with creating these videos is to give you builds that do the maximum amount of DPS for the minimum amount of buttons you need in your rotation, because the easier the rotation, the more likely you can complete that rotation while in actual combat. So there we go. For our gear, we are running a Maelstrom Perfected Inferno Staff with a weapon damage enchant. The trait is infused. If you don't have the perfected version, that's fine. Just run the Maelstrom Inferno Staff. Main hand is a Deadly Dagger, Nirnhoned, flame damage. Make sure this is on your main hand of your main bar. For your offhand of your main bar, you are running Charged with a poison damage enchant. For our jewels, they are all bloodthirsty and they are all deadly with spell damage enchants. For the body, you are running medium armor with Reliquin all the way down. You make to make sure that the Reliquin is all divine. For our monster set, we are running a light Zons with a light head and light shoulder. Again, max mag all the way down, all divine all the way down. For the attributes, 64 into magic. And then you want the Thief, Mundus. For our champion points, in the blue tree, you want Wrathful Strikes. You want to go into the Extended Might Extended tree, grab this arm here, and grab this arm here, because those enchants on the weapons will proc a whole lot more with that. And since you are running both Magicka and stamina weapons, you want to have both arms of that. Then you want to run Deadly Aim, Master at Arms, and Biting Aura. For the red tree, as with most of my builds, we are going to grab these three floaters out here: Boundless Vitality, Fortified, and Rejuvenation, just because these are nice set and forget and they work no matter what, and they don't require situational. For your fourth one, I recommend Siphoning Spells, Strategic Reserve, or Spirit Mastery, for these reasons basically. Sustained, survivability, or you need to res people really quick. For the green tree, make it whatever you want. For our food and potions, we have Ghastly Eyeball, which is what I'm running right now just because I'm fighting a target dummy, but you can sustain this exact same build on Witch Mother's Potent Brew. And in fact, I am going to switch to Witch Mother's Potent Brew to prove that to you. Ghastly works really well if you run the alternate setup to this, which is Gaze of Sithis and Slimecraw Arm Chops. This will give you about 100k. This setup here will give you 100k DPS. Okay, not quite 100k. You'll hit between 95 and 100k. If you hit all your light attacks with Zons, you're going to be hitting about 103 to 105. Now, like I said, Ghastly if you are running Gaze of Sithis. If you're not, Witch Mother's Potent Brew. You'll be able to sustain it either way, and there's a reason why. Essence of Magicka for Trash Pot Potions are really good for just quick magic restore, but the bread and butter of this build is Essence of Spell Power, because we need that major sorcery buff. You want that major sorcery buff because Magplar Templars do not have access to major sorcery, which really jacks our spell damage. It also gives you a nice Magicka recovery rate and will restore 7,000 Magicka immediately. So, after that, the other thing that you want to look at are your skills. On your front bar, you're running Camouflage Hunter, Barb Trap, Power of the Light, Puncturing Sweep, same jabs as always, Radiant Oppression, and Flawless Dawnbreaker. For your back bar, you are running Channeled Focus, Radiant Aura, Solar Barrage, Ritual of Retribution, Blockade of Fire, and then for your black bar ulti, you can run Flawless Dawnbreaker, Reviving Barrier, or Eye of the Storm, depending on your preference. Two things to note: the reason we're running Blockade of Fire instead of Unstable Wall of Elements is because with the longer timer, you get in more stabs. Those stabs are worth more than the 10 seconds that you have on Unstable Wall of Elements. And same with this. Now, one final thing that I would like to note before I go deep into the analysis is you want to get all your fighter skilled passives, because Slayer gives you extra weapon and spell damage for each fighter skill ability slotted. Well, on your main bar you got 3, so you got a 9% boost, and down here you want alchemy at 50, and then you want to get your alchemy to 50, and then you want medicinal use, because this will cause your potions to last 30% longer. Considering that your cooldown is 45 seconds, our potions, as you saw, last 47, so therefore we have 100% uptime on our potions. You want a high elf for this, not a dark elf, because of spell recharge. This really helps out with your sustain. Can you make it work on a dark elf? Yes. Remember, we're running all medium armor. Well, we're running medium armor except for Zons, the monster set. So I recommend high elves just because they have a little more sustain. And that is pretty much it. The rotation is really rather simple. You're looking at, you're going to drop Barb Trap, you're going to throw Power of the Light, you're going to drop Dawnbreaker. You will, before the fight, you will pre-buff with Radiant Aura, Channeled Focus, because this boosts our recoveries by 15%, and this gives us 242 magic every second. With these two running, you don't have to worry about sustain. So it's Barb Trap, Power of the Light, drop your Dawnbreaker, then 1, 2, 3. If you want a static rotation, just every time this runs out, once you get it up to Blockade of Fire 4, you're going to have 15 seconds every time this runs out. Even though these have a little bit of time left on it, you've got enough magic sustain, reproc those. Otherwise, it's a slightly dynamic rotation. Just reproc stuff as needed, and always bar swap back to hit Power of the Light and jabs. Now the reason this build works is that with medium armor, you would think you can't sustain that on a mag build. You can, because of Radiant Oppression. At 40%, stop stabbing and switch to Radiant Oppression. At 25%, drop Power of the Light and run just Barb Trap, Blockade of Fire, Ritual, Solar Barrage, and Radiant Oppression. At about 10% or so, you want to just run Blockade of Fire, Barb Trap, and Radiant Oppression. Anything under, I would say, 7% or less, the only thing you're worried about is Radiant Oppression, Barb Trap, Flawless Dawnbreaker, and at 5%, doesn't matter. Whatever runs out. Just beam your way out and make sure you're light attacking in between. Light attacks are really important with this build because Zons procs off crit damage with light and heavy attacks, and Reliquin builds and stays up because of light and heavy attacks. Alright, so here we go. And target dummies at 100%. So remember, I'm running Witch Mothers right now. We're going to pre-buff with that, pop our potion, drop that, throw that, drop that, 1, 2, 3, stab, throw that back up. Power swap back, Ritual running out. Okay, this is one of those situations where we need to reproc everything. power the light, run out. There we go. Drop that. The reason you want to run the stand morph instead of the magic morph is just because it's easier to sustain, honestly. Got a bit of a lag spike there, folks. Alright, that's going to be the last cast of Power of the Light that we do. Because as you see, we're under 25%. At 25% or less, Radiant Oppression hits harder than Power of the Light. Alright, we're at 7%. That's the last time we're going to drop that. Remember what I said? There you go. 103,990. I did do a test earlier just to let y'all know. Under 25%, you're hitting on with this setup with this build. You're getting close to like 125,000. Once you're in under that 25% line, which is just generally what everybody calls execute. And that's pretty much the build. If you want something that's a little bit more damage, and you're going to add maybe 3k with this, you can take Radiant Aura, swap it out for Vampire's Bane, and you'll get about an extra 3k DPS if you want to go that route. Again, it's still sustainable, but my goal is to give y'all builds that do the maximum amount of damage for the least amount of buttons that are still viable in pretty much all content in the game for the most part. Now, with that being said, I want to say thank y'all because we did hit 20 subscribers. If you like what I do, remember to hit that like the video, subscribe below. I really appreciate it with us hitting 20. I just want to see how many we can get by the end of the month. And I really appreciate y'all. Mainly my builds are intended for console, but other than that, but if you are on PC and you find them useful, awesome. I really hope that they are helpful. I have just noticed that, you know, sometimes the builds that work on PC don't work quite as well on console. This is run on a PS4, so I can guarantee you this build gets 103,000 on a PlayStation 4. So it'll hit that on a PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, or PC. And that is pretty much it. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope you have a great day. Later.